I am Sanjana from RSJ Inspection Service Limited. We are an independent third-party audit and inspection firm. In this video, we will talk about working hours and overtime. The International Labour Organization has established standards and guidelines concerning working hours and overtime to protect workers' health, safety, and well-being. These standards aim to ensure that workers have sufficient rest periods and work-life balance while allowing some flexibility for business to meet operational demand. Key ILO Convention on Working Hours. Firstly, Hours of Work Industry Convention 1990. ILO Convention set a standard 48-hour work week, limiting working hours to 8 hours per day and 6 days per week for workers in industrial sector. Secondly, Night Work Convention 1990 provides additional protection for workers who engage in night work, including limit on working hours and extra rest period, recognizing the health risks associated with irregular working hours. ILO standards for working hour. Firstly, working hours. Standard work week. Under ILO Convention 1919, the standard work week should not exceed 48 hours with a maximum of 8 hours per day. Reduction of hours. The ILO recommends wherever possible a reduction of the work week to 40 hours. This has been adopted in many countries but is not mandatory. Rest days. Workers are entitled to at least one full day of rest per week, which is typically a Sunday in many countries. Secondly, overtime. Voluntary overtime. Overtime work should be voluntary, meaning workers should not be forced to work beyond standard hours unless they agree. Overtime pay. Overtime hours should be compensated at a premium rate, while the exact rate varies by national law. ILO guidelines encourage higher pay for overtime work, usually 1.5 to 2 times the regular hourly rate. Limit on overtime. The ILO emphasizes the overtime should be limited and not excessive. Workers should not work excessive hours that could be detrimental to their health, well-being, or work-life balance. Rest periods. Workers are entitled to adequate daily and weekly rest periods. Typically, workers must receive a minimum of 11 consecutive hours of rest between working days and at least 24 hours of uninterrupted rest during the week. Paid leave. Workers should also have access to paid annual leave to ensure rest and recovery from work. Exceptions and flexibility. Emergency situation. In case of emergencies such as natural disaster, urgent repair, or business operation requiring continuity, working hours may be extended temporarily, provided workers are adequately compensated. Seasonal work. Some sectors like agriculture or tourism may have exemptions to standard working hour limit, allowing for longer working hours during peak season, balanced by shorter hours in off-season. Challenges in implementation. Firstly, enforcement. While many countries have adopted the ILO standards on working hours, enforcement can be difficult, particularly in informal or unregulated sectors. Secondly, exploitation. In some countries or industries, workers are coerced into working excessive overtime without appropriate compensation or rest periods. Thirdly, sectoral variation. Some sectors like healthcare, transportation, or hospitality require non-standard working hours, which can create challenges for implementing uniform regulation. Health and safety concern. The ILO recognized that excessive working hours and insufficient rest can lead to increased accident rate. Fatigued workers are more prone to workplace accidents, particularly in sectors like manufacturing, construction, and transportation. Physical and mental health risks. Long hours without adequate rest can lead to stress, burnout, cardiovascular problem, and other health issues. Work-life balance. Excessive work can interfere with family and social life, affecting workers' overall quality of life. ILO advocacy for decent work. In the line with its decent work agenda, the ILO advocates for a balance between productivity and workers' well-being. Work environment where workers have sufficient rest time for family and personal development and reasonable working hours without excessive overtime. Conclusion. The ILO standards on working hours and overtime are designed to protect workers from exploitation, promote health and safety, and ensure fair compensation for their labor. By setting limits on working hour, ensuring rest periods, and regulating overtime, the ILO seeks to create more human and sustainable work environment globally. Thank you for watching. If you have any question regarding this, you can ask your questions in the comment box.